So President Trump blasting Chicago's leadership for the recent outbreak of violence that we've been reporting on there. Take a listen.
Bad stuff happening, and probably, I guess you have to take from the leadership. This goes bad to leadership. There's no reason in a million years that something like that should be happening in Chicago.
All right, let's go to the former Cleveland Police Union President, Steve Loomis, who joins us now on whether a change of that leadership would fix the problems. And, Steve, that's been the question that's come up when people, the president and others, say that this is Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago's fault. The recent shootings and murders that we've been reporting on in Chicago, even from this past weekend, the numbers are crazy. Do you agree with that assessment? But I guess more importantly is, what would happen if there was a change in leadership in Chicago? What would be different?
Well, I agree that the mayor shares a lion's share of responsibility for what's going on there, but also leadership in the black community. The NAACP, you know, there's no advancement for colored people in Chicago in these neighborhoods because the law-abiding, God-fearing citizens are living in fear in those neighborhoods. The ACLU, civil liberties are being crushed in those neighborhoods. Nobody can walk to the store without fear of being shot or robbed, you know, and Mayor Emanuel actually campaigned on hiring 1,000 additional police officers in the city of Chicago. They're so understaffed right now, as we are here in Cleveland and most of the metropolitan cities in this country. It's a terrible situation, and the police officers are swimming in quicksand, especially in Chicago.
Yeah, that's the thing about the police officers. I've seen a number of assessments there that say, you know, ever since, I guess, Laquan McDonald's story and the other stories that have come up, that there's been this anti-police sentiment that's been building in that city. I suppose it exists in others as well. But how much of a factor is that in Chicago, that the community doesn't seem to trust the police, vice versa? That's maybe true. And it leads to this situation where there's, you know, it's us against them as opposed to we're all in it together.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's the reality. I think that's the reality of certain groups, Black Lives Matters, these ministers, self-appointed community leaders, Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, they all make a lot of money creating that division. The media, you know, not you guys so much, but the media does not report accurately. This last shooting in Chicago, as a matter of fact, we had body cam video of that young man making the decision to pull a gun out on police officers, and he got shot. Yet that's the first bullet. If you look at the Black Lives Matter Chicago website, that's the first thing that they're touting, is that the police officers shot this guy that was pointing a gun at him, pulling a gun out on him. That's a false narrative. It's absolutely not the mainstream thinking of the law-abiding citizens in these neighborhoods. I know that firsthand because I'm out in the street out there with our folks here in Cleveland. They want to see more police officers. And by the way, in that particular shooting, those police officers were out there on foot because the law-abiding citizens go to these community meetings and they're not asking, why are we doing things the way we're doing? They're asking, where the heck are you? We want to see more police officers in the street. 1,000 short of what they're supposed to have in Chicago, 150 short of the budgeted strength here in Cleveland. It's just, it can be solved, but you have to have the political, you have to have the, you have to be able to pull the trigger on that.
Is, I was, just because of your own expertise in Cleveland, you mentioned being out there. One of the things that stood out to me, I happened to be assigned to cover the protests, potential protests and otherwise at the convention there a few years back in the city of Cleveland, and ended up being, on a relative basis, a fairly calm week. There were a few, protests that sparked up, and the police had to deal with it. But one of the things that I still remember that always stood out to me about that city is that the police commissioner, maybe still the police commissioner there, I'm not sure, but at the time was very hands-on in dealing with everybody. Yep. And it wasn't just, he didn't, sit back in some office somewhere directing. He was there in the middle of it, and I saw it myself on a few occasions. He personally was able to diffuse a situation that otherwise could have gotten out of control. And, I'm not saying the situations are comparable. They may not be. Maybe apples to oranges. But is there something happening there in Cleveland maybe that could be applied to Chicago, just in terms of the way the city is policed?
Well, I think police chiefs in general want that. They do the best that they can do with the resources that they're given by the politicians. And these body cameras have been great for law enforcement across the country because the chiefs are right now, they're pushing those body cameras out there to prevent the violence, to prevent Black Lives Matter and these other groups, these divisional groups that cause so much hatred and when there shouldn't be. they push those things out there right away, day one, right after that thing, to keep people calm and give them cause for pause. And,
yeah, it's interesting.
and
Some people, when they first came
investigations.
out in the, as you know, in the law enforcement community, some weren't as supportive of body cameras, but you're saying it's worked out, is your point?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now, you know, my friends in the ACLU are starting to pull back away from the body cameras because they're showing law enforcement as what we truly are.
Right.
We do more to help the citizens in these cities than any of these politicians ever will. A rookie with a year on the job does more to help the citizens that need us in these cities. And those body cameras are a tremendous asset because they show that. You know, they show that time and time again. You know, these folks in these community leadership, civil leadership, needs to step up. Where is Obama? This is his home turf. You know, where is Sharpton? Where is Jesse Jackson? Where are all these big power, self-appointed community leaders of the African-American community?
Is there a role for the federal
they?
government, though? I mean, we talked to us a little bit about it yesterday. Our friend Jana Caldwell was suggesting that maybe there's something the president could do. And some other leaders, by the way, locally have suggested that maybe the federal government, you know, needs to just get involved itself in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, the federal government has great resources, the ATF, the DEA, the FBI. You know, it's good to work with those folks. But that's a local government issue, and I'm not a big fan of the Fed coming in and taking things over, but they certainly could help, you know, even if it's just throwing money at certain social programs. You're not going to be able to arrest your way out of the problems that are going on in Chicago and these other cities.
Yep.
It's going to take a multitude of approaches. Prison reform, you know, instead of just letting these guys out. He's absolutely right.
Yeah,
Instead of just letting them out.
Not just one. I mean, obviously, there's not just one answer to something like this. You got to, you guys throw the whole
but you have to,
for lack of a better term. Go ahead. The last point, real quick.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You have to start at the top. You have to have solid leadership that recognizes the problems for what they are, and you have to have the willingness to put the boots on the street for the police departments to get these things solved. Chicago has a 17% solve rate for the multitude of homicides that they have. They are swimming in quicksand, and that's not because they don't have great detectives in that homicide unit. It's because they don't have the resources that they need to go out and handle the volume that's going on, and that's the problem here in Cleveland and elsewhere in the country.
All right, thank you, Steve, for bringing your expertise to this tough situation.
Thank
but a
you
good
very much,
discussion.
sir.
Thanks a lot, Steve Loomis from Cleveland.